Welcome to High Tea with me, with your host, Katrina Brittingham. You brought your favorite beverage, and she brought the career advice. Now sit back and relax while you get advice that will take you to the next destination in your career or business. And now, Katrina Brittingham.
Hello, I'm Katrina Brittingham, and thank you for joining me for another episode of High Tea with me. This episode will focus on creating a social media marketing strategy for yourself. I have a lot of people coming to me to ask me about social media marketing and which platforms they should use. The answer is simple. Where are your clients? Where is your core market? Where do they go? So you will have some people say, oh, you have to have Instagram. You have to have Snapchat. You have to have Facebook. You have to have this. You have to have that. But what I found in my time in business and going to many, many platforms is that I narrowed down what I used. And that was based on where my clients were, where I was getting hits, where I was getting clients. And so it's not as simple as, oh, you have to be on this, you have to be on that. But just to be thorough, I just want to let you know the ones that are out there, which are Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, LinkedIn, Snapchat, and YouTube. These are the major players when it comes to social media, especially for businesses. So you have a whole lot of software and platforms that you can use to help you manage your social media. But what I would say to you is that you want to be strategic in what you are doing. You can spend literally, because I've done it, all day on social media, managing social media, writing for social media, posting to social media, creating a social media schedule, putting it into the different platforms. I've used a couple, Hootsuite, and I forgot the other one that I was using, but I was using another one. Now Facebook has Facebook Creator, and they've partnered with Instagram, so you can schedule your posts there, and I find myself doing that more so than using Hootsuite and other software, because some of the platforms have started to ban third-party software that I depended on a lot to schedule out my posts. So I wasn't sitting there all day posting after I've spent hours creating content, writing content, and trying to get it posted. So what I would say is what you want to do is you want to set a goal for your social media. So you want to make sure they align with your strategy for business. So you want to determine your goals, evaluate them to make sure that you're meeting their needs. The buzzword is smart. You want your goals to be smart. If you want to know how to create smart goals, I have a video that I created at the end of 2019 on how to make smart goals. But I also did a video on how to carry out those smart goals and to make sure that you're meeting your goals. So there's another video on that on High Tea with me, and you can check that out as well. So you want to make sure that you have goals that are specific. What are you specifically trying to do with the social media platform that you're on? Are you marketing? Are you trying to build your audience? Are you trying to get sales? Your goals will depend on what you do, whether you take out ads on Facebook and these other platforms. YouTube is a video search engine platform. And so that's where people put their videos, instructions, how to, fun tutorials and everything like that on YouTube. In order to monetize YouTube, you have to have a certain amount of subscribers. I believe now it's 1,000 subscribers before ads will come up into your video if you select to monetize. And so that's a way to have some passive income. If you have a lot of people watching your videos, for each video that is watched, you get a certain amount of money, and it can be very lucrative for someone who has a lot of followers and people who watch. What I would say is on that platform and on others, you do have to be careful because the number of people that are subscribed, that are your fans, can be a little deceptive because you can have fans on those pages, but they don't interact with your videos too often because they may not be there too often. So you want to look at the behind the scenes metrics on who's actually engaging your videos, who's actually engaging your content, the reach, who you're reaching. Are you reaching the right people? Are you reaching, again, I do business, so am I reaching business owners? Am I reaching entrepreneurs? I have found that the two platforms that work for me mainly, even though I still do post on Twitter and I do still post on the other sites that I'm on, I post mainly, and that's where my core group comes from, is Facebook and LinkedIn. I get a lot of engagements, I get clients, I get prospects, I get networks, people that I've built a network with through LinkedIn mostly, and then through Facebook. So you want to take a look and see what is showing up. So you want to look at your networks, where you are the most active, where your people are the most active, because if you're more active than where your people are showing up, then you need to change your strategy and move to the platform where your people are showing up, where your audience is showing up, where your niche group, where your ideal client is showing up. And I've had to do that. Sometimes it's trial and error because sometimes, it gets seen, or people will say they get most of their clients from this platform, and that may very well be true. But the clients and the audience that you speak to may not be on those platforms. So you would need to test that over time. That's what I've done over time. That's why I'm not trying to tell you exactly what platform to go to, because we may even be in the same industry, but the clients you speak to may not be on the same platform or may not be going to the same platforms that the people that I speak to go to. So that's why you want to have a strategy. That's why you want to look and see where your numbers are, especially before you start investing those dollars in ads. I'm not going to say wasted, but I've put a lot of money into ads in different places and was not getting any results. But when I started focusing my efforts where my clientele was, I started seeing a difference and I started getting money in. So you want to get the most value from your networks. You want to make sure that your networks are optimized and that the comparison between your profile and your competitors, I can't say is similar, because you want to make sure that you are standing out from them, but you do want to see if you have a competitor who works in the same niche as you, who speaks to the same type of clients, you want to see the engagement they're getting on those platforms. Are they getting a lot or are they getting very little? Because 9 times out of 10, if they're getting very little, you're going to get very little too, unless you have something that makes you stand out and you speak to the overall niche, but your ideal client is there. So you want to be strategic and you want to have those numbers to back you up. Facebook has numbers behind it. I love the Creator Studio because the numbers, as soon as you go on there, are right there to tell you who's been engaging you, who's been clicking on your videos. Not the actual person, but the numbers of how many people have engaged. It'll even tell you if you submitted some content and it dropped in number, or if you submitted content and it raised in number. What you can do with that is look and say, wait a minute, what's the difference between this content and that content? And strategically create the content that's going to attract your people. What I found is video does a whole lot better. Pictures do a whole lot better than having a whole bunch of words. And I have put things out there and people are like, oh, you need to say all of this. And people are not trying to read all of that. A friend of mine who's also in business, was in marketing for a long time with actual McDonald's, the McDonald's Corporation. And I sat with him one time with certain marketing materials. He even looked at like my website, and he said you need to have about 80% pictures, 20% words. Why? Because a picture speaks 1,000 words, and people are attracted to pictures. People don't want to go and read a novel online if they're not going to Amazon to do an electronic book. People are not trying to read all of that. People want to get the message in seconds, and they want to decide if they're going to buy from you, and they're going to decide if they're not going to buy from you. Literally in seconds. If you have a website, you can see that. You will have people who are on your website for seconds, bounce off. And then you'll have people who will read your website for seconds and stay on for minutes. That means that whatever content was there interested them enough to look at you a little bit further. I came out of resume writing. And so it's the same thing. Recruiters take 3 seconds to look at your resume, to glance at your resume, to see if something pops out to them, to make them want to read more. Now, if after 3 seconds they get that, they'll do one or two things. They'll read your resume a little bit closer, or they'll call you in for an interview. It is the same thing when you are selling. In the first couple seconds, if what they see has not grabbed their attention, they're moving on to somewhere else that's grabbed their attention. It's the same thing with social media. If what you have posted has not grabbed their attention, within a couple seconds, they're moving on to the next social media page. So that's what you want to look at. Those are the things that you want to determine when you are planning a social media campaign or just going onto a social media site. There are other sites that are out there that I have not even touched or even looked at because that's not where my clientele is. Now, who's to say tomorrow I might be on another platform because I found that from my research that my people are there. And if they are there, guess where I'm going to be? I'm going to be there too because I need to be in their face if I want to get their attention. So, that being said, determine your ideal client. So you want to remember that your main objective in marketing is to understand the needs of your clients. So you want to be specific. And in this stage, and it is the most critical part of your marketing campaign, social media, or wherever. So there is a difference between identifying your target market as parents and determining that your ideal customer are parents aged 25 to 35. And you want to make sure that you are real specific. Are they living in the US? Are they international? Are they in a specific city? How much do they earn? And do they love going outdoors? Do they love going to having play dates for their children? What is it that your ideal client or your niche is looking for? Are they mostly on Instagram with pictures of their babies? Are they on Facebook? Are they on LinkedIn? So these are the things that you want to look at. Establishing your ideal client and customer is more beneficial to your business than anything else. Whether you are a seasoned marketer or you're a novice in advertising, identifying your audience is critical. And if you do not identify who your audience is, then you will fail in your marketing efforts. It doesn't matter what you do, you're going to fail in your marketing efforts if you do not do this. So to establish a highly focused buyer character, you need to consider the following factors: the age of your clients, the job title, the location, their pain points, their income, and their preferred social media platform. These are imperative. You cannot have some and not have others. That is the perfect mix to make the punch that is your marketing efforts. And you will have a big impact. Develop a mission statement for your social media platforms. This is important because people do look up what your business is about. It's the same thing on your websites. You have to have a mission statement because people need to feel what your mission statement is and buy into that and say, okay, their values, their mission goes with my values. So you want to make sure that you do that. So you want a mission statement that will influence people to work with you. Action. You want them to take action on it. The statement will define your plans for your social media platform, which should manifest in your brand identity. This is even if you have groups, because I actually have a couple groups. I have a couple pages. I'm an author. I have an author page. And so you want to be able to speak to your audience and have your content flow with that. And you want to create a brand, because if you don't create your brand, someone else will create your brand for you. So you want to make sure that you create your brand, you stick to your brand, and your brand is strong. Okay? You want a mission statement that will be your guiding principle. It will help you figure out and create the content that you will share on your platforms. So you want to avoid publishing content that's outside of your mission statement, so you don't confuse the people who are going there. Businesses that are bound to fail are people who are inclined to not follow that chain and to be generalists. I said it before when I came into business. Again, I was in career services, and it was just like, oh, you can be a generalist and you can write for everyone, and then that way you'll make more money. Nah, that wasn't the case for me. I was not a jack of all trades. I was specific in the clientele that I was able to reach. I'm a business major. I'm an accounting major. And so when it came to business, when it came to process improvement, when it came to project management, when it came to finance and accounting, I could do those with my eyes closed. And I spent my time as a business major in healthcare. And so I could do healthcare resumes pretty well. But when it came to other types of resumes, I was lost in the sauce, doing all kinds of research, trying to figure out what's going on, trying to figure out their jargon, trying to write for them. And I'm not going to say it was horrible, because I do believe that some people got jobs. But, you know, when it came real technical, it became obvious that I did not know their industry and everything like that. So you want to make sure that you're not too general. You are not a jack of all trades. You are a specialist in what you do, and you want to make sure that that comes across, because people are not looking for a jack of all trades. They're not looking for a generalist. They're looking for someone who can meet their specific needs, which makes you a specialist. So you want to make sure that you show up as that specialist. Okay? So you want to run an assessment of your competitors. That is the next step in this, and that is step 4 on the process. Is you want to take a look at your competitors to see what your competition is doing and figure out the strategies that they are using that work. You also want to see what sets you apart from your competitors, that meets a need or a gap that they're not meeting, so that makes you unique in the industry, and you will speak to a specific group of people. You want to diversify. You want to diversify. You want to diversify and find out which of their strategies have been successful in the past and which ones have not. Because you don't want to pick up something that was not successful. Because you're in 9 times out of 10, you're in an industry that is not brand new. Someone has already thought about what you've done. So you do not want to come out thinking, oh, this is such a great idea, and realize that it was a total flop in the market. Or if it was a flop, maybe you can figure out why it was and do it better. So if you do it better and you find out why it was a flop and you figure out that thing, then that will make you at the top of your industry. For example, MP3 players have been out for a while. Apple was not the first person to create an MP3 player. Somebody else did it. It may have done it well, it may not, it may have done horrible. I had one of the ones that did not do well. But Apple found that niche and they did it better. And guess what? Now they're the ones who are carrying that, and actually now we're streaming a whole lot of things. So somebody came out and was like, okay, I'm going to figure out how to do this better. And they did. And so that's where they made their millions and millions and billions of dollars, because they found out, okay, this was a flop, this was a fail. Why? What are my clients saying about this? What is my target market saying about this? And they looked and they read and they learned and they made it better. And so you can do that as well. So just because something flopped for someone else may not necessarily mean it flopped for you. You just have to figure out why it failed the first time, and so that you don't do that same thing. So that's part of marketing too. That's part of doing an assessment of your industry. That's a part of doing an assessment of other people who are on social media. I know, for example, I know I have to stick with career services. I know career services places who do an excellent job marketing, and their place is full all the time. However, I know some that do not, and they are not full all the time. They're not getting the hits because they just don't have that secret sauce. They don't have that special thing that's causing people to come in. And that is what separates them from their competition who may be doing well. So you want to make sure that you are looking and seeing what your people are saying. Okay? You want to make sure that when you're looking at your competition, you're also looking at opportunities. So looking for things that are not being fulfilled. So if your competitors on Facebook but have no presence on Instagram and Twitter, you could leverage the channels where there's less competition as opposed to winning competitors from customers from your competitors. I cannot speak today, so I do apologize. I don't know why I'm stumbling over my words today, but you can do that. So if you have, the Facebook, you can leverage that. Like I told you, I do leverage Instagram on Facebook because I have people who are on Facebook, so I do post to both, especially since Facebook has that partnership with Instagram. I have found that I have built people who were on Facebook and had them follow me on Instagram, or some of them have even created Instagram accounts, and vice versa. People who see that I am on Facebook, they're on Instagram will follow me on Facebook, because what you have to look at too, that these are two different platforms. Instagram is photo based, so they might see a photo and say, oh wow, she's on Facebook doing this. People go to Facebook for different reasons than they go to Instagram. And so they're like, okay, they might not even ever follow me on Instagram, but then they'll follow me on Facebook. Or someone might see me on Facebook and follow me on LinkedIn because they know that I'm on LinkedIn. So you can leverage those things. And I've had people tell me, oh, I found you on Instagram, but when they come to my Facebook, or they say, oh, I found you on Facebook, and so I just checked Instagram just to see if you were there, because Instagram is more business-like and I wanted to connect with you for business. So you want to look out for that too, and see what people say. Or if you have a whole lot of people on Facebook that say, are you on Instagram? Then guess what? You need to get an Instagram platform. That's the way that works. So you want to see what's popular with your niche and see if you fill that void. So basically, if you are doing music or something like that, and you see that there's a certain genre that is popular, do you do that genre? Do you cover that genre? And if you don't, maybe you need to consider it if it doesn't go against your mission statement. So those are the types of things that you want to do. You want to determine your key success metrics and how you can establish whether or not your social media marketing efforts are being successful in terms of profit, if that's what you're looking for, in terms of fan base, if that's what you're looking for, as far as clicks on to your content, how many times your content is shared. You want to look at that. So you want to look at the conversion rate. You want to look at your reach. You want to look at the total times that visitors have spent on your social media platform, which they do have ways for you to identify that. Total shares, as I stated before, sentiments, if they've written comments, how many people are actually engaging your content, because you can have people, sometimes the total clicks can be deceiving because people can click on and click right off. Like I said, the total likes that they have, any loves that they have, you want to look and see if you have people who are writing comments. Oh, I love this content. This is great. I was looking for this, that, and the third. You want to look at that. You want to look at any brand mentions, because if someone has joined your page or if they mention your brand, it will come up in your stream. So you want to see how many times your content is being mentioned out there, because guess what? It's a referral. So you want to see if that is happening. So you want to look at your social media strategy, because when you're in business, time is money. Let's be real. Every minute you're spending on something is a minute you could have been spending on something else that would make you more money and make you more profitable. So you want to make sure that you are strategic in creating a social media strategy. What platform you're going on. You want to make sure that your people are there. Also, because I mentioned before pages and I mentioned groups. If you create a group, you want to do the same thing. How many people are coming to your group? Do you have a public group? Do you have a private group? If you have a private group, how many people are you converting over from your page to your private group? How are you interacting? What are they saying in your group? Are you getting comments? Are you having contests? And if you're having contests, are people buying into your contest? Are they following the instructions all the way through to get the prize that you have for them? I know a group that will tout that they have thousands of subscribers, but they have maybe like 24 people active. So that's why I said you having fans, having followers, having friends can be deceiving, because just because you have 1 million friends on Facebook, which I know Facebook doesn't allow you to have 1 million friends. I think they cap you at 5,000, but you can have 5,000 friends and only have 10 people that you're engaging. So you want to make sure that you're engaging your people properly, and maybe that platform is just not for you to get those hits. Maybe it's another place. So you want to make sure that whatever you're doing adds value, that you're getting a return on your investment, because you want to make sure that you are reaching your goal. So you want to go back, and going back to SMART goals is you want something that's specific, you want it measurable. That's where your metrics come in. You want it to be attainable. So it's something that you can obtain. If you're looking to grow your fan base and you say you want 1 million followers on, let's say, YouTube in a year, will you get that? Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe you need to set the bar a little lower and say maybe you want 10,000 or 100,000, which may very well be doable in a year's time frame, depending on what your efforts are, the marketing that you're putting out for it, and everything like that. So you want to make sure that it is attainable. You want to make sure that it's realistic. So attainable, to me, attainable and realistic go hand in hand. If your goals are not realistic, you're not going to obtain them. So you want to make sure that you can realistically meet these goals. You know, if you're out there and you are known in the industry and you are at the top of your game, then 9 times out of 10, anything you set out there is going to get millions of hits. But if you're just starting out, you might not be able to hit 1 million hits. Or you may, because some people have been overnight wonders and success in social media. So I'm not saying that you won't do it. I'm just saying, let's be realistic, and if you can do it, but set some realistic expectations for yourself and make it time bound. If you want 1 million subscribers, maybe try for 5 years or something like that and see. Have smaller goals. I want 1 million by this time, but if I can get 100 million by this time, or if I can get 10 million by this time, you know, and celebrate those small wins, because every little win leads up to the big win. So you want to make sure that you are looking at that. You want to make sure that you're looking at your metrics. If you're not a social media guru like that, maybe you should hire one, or maybe you should hire someone who knows how to market you and your product and your service on social media. There are some awesome people out there who can market your stuff, who can make sure that your content is placed properly, to make sure you have the proper pictures, to make sure things are fitting your brand. I'm not a marketing guru like that, so I went to a brand specialist. I went to a marketing specialist who could help me. Yes, it's still my words, it's still my content, but it is placed in a way that it attracts the people that it's supposed to attract. So you being the CEO of your company, because I speak to entrepreneurs and small business owners, you don't have to know how to do everything. Steve Jobs had a marketing team that were experts at doing marketing. Mike Zuckerberg, I think that's his name. Mark Zuckerberg. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna get hate mail. He has a marketing team. Any big brand name you have has a marketing team, and they know exactly how to speak to that niche client. They do the research, they know exactly where to hit, and sometimes as business owners, we have to know when to call in for reinforcements, when to get help to do those things. So this is Katrina Brittingham, and I just wanted to just end with letting you know that effective marketing strategy for social media is a progressive process that can change whenever you need it. So just because you start marketing in a certain way doesn't mean you have to continue that way if it's not working. And you can create your marketing strategy and optimize it as you continue to develop your business and learning your audience. I had to do that because, again, I told you I started out in career services. I dealt primarily with people who were in transition. And then I found that a lot of the people that I was working with were transitioning from their job, their 9-to-5, their corporate job, into business. And I had that experience working with businesses, building businesses, creating departments and creating strategies and plans and filling gaps. And that's what people were asking me for. They were like, you've been in business for a while. I see you have this business degree. I see from your professional side, this is what you were doing. And they were asking for advice. So my business evolved. My business itself evolved into something more. And I can't say something more, to something a little bit different. So I changed based on that, and my marketing strategy and email marketing strategy and even my social media marketing strategy changed in accordance to that. And so thank you so much, because we are at the half-hour mark already. And I thank you for coming in. If you want to be a guest on the show, you can email me at info@ventureready.net. And I will see you next week. Goodbye.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of High Tea with Me. To be a guest on the show, contact us via email info@ventureready.net. Thank you again, and see you next week.